Okay, it's 8 o'clock. This is the Tech Talk channel, and it is Tuesday. And this is Tech Talk Tuesday. And this is Table of Time. But this is the Table of Time series number 2. I did one already on the Table of Time a while ago, but that was really about the relationship of the Table of Time to the Harmonic series and the construction of the Table of Time from a physics standpoint. And we talked a lot about wave mechanics, and quantum theory, our connection to the universe through rhythm. And I did get to do this Table of Time once, very quickly, without really explaining the execution of it. It was really about explaining the what it is, where it comes from, how it's created, how it affects us as rhythm players, how it affects tonal players, how it affects all musicians. This is relevant to all musicians. So, but this time, I'd like to come back and actually go through the exercise and teach it a little bit. And there's 2 ways that I do it. I showed the first way that I do it last time. I didn't really tell you much about what I was doing. I just did it. So let's talk about harmonics a little bit, because this is a harmonic display. This table is a representation of the harmonic series relationships and of a lot of other things that happen in the universe. This is how vibrations and wave mechanics work in sound waves and light waves and whatever. So looking at it from a harmonic standpoint, well, first of all, I guess I should explain the difference between linear. Linear is metric. It's metered. It's counted out, and it has an expanding time field. It doesn't maintain a specific pulse, and it works in a forward motion kind of idea. I mean, if you look at this is more of a vertical viewpoint where everything happens. All of the subdivisions, all of the metrics, the meters happen within the same pulse, and you're using multiple subdivisions, whereas in metrics you're always using one subdivision or one type of subdivision, which is the duple at the Western notation. Has a limitation on it, that it can only represent accurately. It can only represent within its model duple meters, which is pretty good, because I mean, we're duple beings. We got 2 feet, we got 2 hands, we got 2 eyes, got 1 nose, 2 nostrils, 2 ears. So even when we walk, we walk in a duple pattern, left, right. And this is, hello Ron DeAngelis. I guess I should announce who's here. Let me do that. So in the Tech Talkers room, we have lurking as Randy Bird Culp. He's lurking, and lurking with him is Richard Kings, and Ron Mordelite is not lurking. He's actually said hello, and I say hello back to Ron. So duple is very useful. I mean, duple, it's binary. It's computer language is based on binary. I'll show you how that works. So anyway, it helps to learn this table if you understand the groupings between the families. Okay. And the relationships between the subdivisions, the meters, within the pulse. Okay, Ron's got to go. Christian Eric Dahlberg is here. Says hello. And Mark Mazuko says hi. Thanks, Mark. So we have a duple family that we begin with. Okay, James. Everybody's coming in now. Yeah, James Hernandez. So the primary pulse is the quarter note that he wrote down there. Now the second line after that is a unnatural. It's an yeah, I'm going to do these at night from now on. James suggests that we do these at 8 o'clock Eastern. And I kind of like it too. I don't like getting up, so early in the day to get ready to do this. It's much easier for me to prepare to do this this time of night. Hi, Frank. Frank DeRocco. All right, Frank, just hang in there. You'll see what's going on. All right, so we're talking about the duple family. So if that's a quarter note, right? All right, let me set a metronome. The pulse stays the same in harmonics. You're dealing with one pulse. I'm gonna go for the lowest pulse I can get on my metronome. That's 440 per second. Here's 40 per minute. So this is the primary, which should be number 1. So the first harmonic is not the second line. It doesn't exist in the relationships, right? That's a 1.5 to 1 relationship, and that doesn't exist in nature. Okay, we could do it intellectually, but all right. So the first harmonic that happens in nature is the third line, which is still duple, and so what you need to understand is that every metric, every meter, every signature, every subdivision, every wave, every frequent has a downbeat and an upbeat, which is your crest and trough of the wave, and that's how that's represented. So really, I'm just playing the downbeats when I'm playing just the pulse. Now, I can indicate the upbeats too. When I do that, I'm subdividing to the next harmonic. Now I'm in. So that's the next step in the duple family. And then that has an upbeat too. So if I play the upbeats to that, you notice I jumped to 3. I'm into the 16th now. Because the 3 is not in the duple family. It's in the triple family. Now, if I do the upbeats to these downbeats, now I'm doing the 8th subdivision. See, and it jumps So that's binary. Then it goes 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Now you're talking binary. These are amounts of measurements and values that we find in the computer language. You continue right up to 1020, 1024. After 256 is 512. Then it goes 1024, which is your kilobyte, 1000 bytes. And then megabytes is 1024 kilobytes, and the next level is megabytes and gigabytes and terabytes. It's all based on this binary system I just showed you. Starting with 1 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, except we start in the computer language, they use an 8-bit system, or they can use a 16-bit system. Here we have a 4-bit system with 4 pulses per pattern. But and this is what method notation is based on, all of the duple. So how do we deal with the 3? In that case, well, then they go into meters, which is not subdividing the time, but shortening the time. So instead of 4 quarter notes, they give you 3 quarter notes, and they give you 3 counts instead of 4 counts. But it's a counting. It has nothing to do. The 3 is not related to a pulse. It started with 1 and went to 2. It's just, and that is duple as well, because even 3 has a. It makes your 6. So now you're seeing how the duple creates the 3 family. So if we take the 3, that brings us to the 6. Right? And there we go to the 12, and then 24. But that's the triple family. So you have the duple family and the triple family. So you can line up these divisions if you understand how they sit within the families and how the families relate to one another, which is the second line is the key to how they relate to one another. The duple and the triple family. Then you say, well, what about 5? What about 7? What about, well, all of that are combinations of these 2 families. They all come down to groups of 3s and 2s, combinations of these 2 families, linearly, basically. But you can make it a harmonic by relating to the same. And they have families too. So the 5 family, if I duple it, that's my 10. Okay? The 7 family, which is the next family level of the 7, which is made up of 2 groups of 2 and a group of 3. That's the foundation, and it's built into a 7, and then I can build from that 7. I can build to a 14 by just playing the upbeats and dupling it. So they all have duple families. But the basic families are 2, duple, and triple, which is also a duple. We're also duples within itself. So we have this contradiction of duple, triple going on all the time. And that's what happens with line 2, is that it crosses the line. It's 1.5. It's not 2 to 1, a 3 to 1, a 4 to 1. It's 1.5 to 1. So and that's really what the dotted note relationship is, which is the connection between this harmonic and linear. The dotted notes. That's how we express line 2 in linear format. Was it 1.5 to 1 is the dotted formula, and it is the lower family. Logistically, it's the lower family of the 3. Although the 3 is the first harmonic, this is below the primary. It's below the first harmonic, but there's a family relationship there. And so it's unnatural because it's not a harmonic relationship, so we wind up counting through it. So one of the ways to make it helpful is to find a division in a family that works on both sides. The 3 against 2, that relationship has sits on either side of the fence, on the 2 side or the 3 side of the fence. So if I go to the next level from line 2, if I go to line 3 and subdivide that way, you can see it becomes easy to go. Every other note becomes line 2, and every third note becomes line 1. And that is the 3 to 2 connection with the dotted note that connects the linear and harmonic concepts. But then we're going to continue on harmonically in place. So what I'm saying is that I count line 2 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I try to feel that. I'm feeling So what I'm doing is I'm playing just the downbeats, and I'm using the upbeats to give me a relationship that gives me a relationship to the ones. And if I play that family, it's much easier for me. That's much more natural. After a while, you don't have to even count it in the next family up. And this will work in all the families. Let's go to the 6th family. And of course, going to the next line is just the duple or the upbeats of the first quarter note. The only challenge is when we get to the 3, now you really have to feel 3 against 1 here. But when I do this exercise as a warm-up, everything I'm doing is an accent because I'm in my full stroke level. So I really just have to feel the meter or the subdivision we're working with. I'm not relying on accents. You could use the accents to learn what these sound like in the beginning and get the feeling down. So the next family is 4, which is the duple of 2, which is the duple of 1. everything is great, right? So then we went through our duple family, and we started delineating our triple family. And now here we go. Where's the 5? So there's no family to relate this to. This is the quintuple family now. So how do I relate this? Well, I could do it in a similar way, the way I did line 2. I go up to the next duple family of 5. It's 10. And if you look at 10, it's like 2 groups of 5. So now we have 2 groups. So now the number 2 means a lot to me. So now I start thinking about, well, if I use the 2, if I use the first harmonic as the pulse, it will help me get through the 5, because then I can delineate the 2 of the primary pulse, and that should line up in the middle of the 2 5s somehow. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I play a 2 against this. If I do the duple, or the upbeat of the primary, it'll slice it in half for me. Linearly, that's what that sounds like. But what I'm doing is I'm adding the upbeat of the primary into harmonically into the 5, and then it separates the 2.5s to 2.5s by putting an extra pulse in the middle, which is the 2, which is the 2 pulse. So now I'm doing 5 against 2. The other way. And after a while, it holds me together by being able to understand where the 2 of the primary is, how it relates to the 5. Makes it much easier for me to keep the 5 nice and even and in place. And the 6, easy. It's the duple of 3. Right? And in 7, I do the same thing that I did with 5. I do it against 2. Keeps me nice and plain. You could do this with accentuation too. You want to talk about accents? I'm doing the next family up and using the accents to show you where the 2 would sit. Okay, then you have 8, which is the duple of 4, which is the duple of 2, which is the duple of the primary. So the next one up from here would be 16. And that's 16, right off the chart. Easy to do once you understand the relationships. 9. Well, now we really 9 is really my favorite. I don't use a 2 against 9. I use a 3 against 9. And what I'm doing is it's hard to explain this word. So instead of using a duple on the 3, let's go back to the 3. So if we duple that, I get 6. But if I triple it, I get 9. Ten, of course, is the duple of 5. 11 gets to be a challenge because it gets so fast it's really hard to hear. Even at 40, which is my lowest setting, 11 gets to be hard to hear the 2, because now you're going to 64th notes for the upbeat of the primary here. I got to go to 64th notes, and it gets too tight for my ear to hear it that way. So the way I do it is I look at it from a stroking point of view. So I got to play 6.5 strokes right-handed, and I got to play 6.5 strokes left-handed. That's how I break up the 2. So it's a right-hand lead for 6.5 strokes, and then it's a left-hand lead for 6.5 strokes. So I'm doing 6 right-hand lead, then 6 left-hand lead. A little faster. Get the idea? Downbeat, upbeat, downbeat, upbeat is what I'm doing. And then 12 is a duple of 6, which is a duple of 3, which is a triple of 1. And so that's how I look at the table. And like I said before, you can use the accents to help you shape and hear and feel these subdivisions, but it's best to be able to hear them by ear or feel them right off without having to use the crutch or the accent. So I'll just play it down now very quickly. Good, it was a half hour, but so let me just play it down for you. I got lost already. Okay, 7, here we go. So this is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two lines each. All right, that's my warm up, my pre warm up. I do this. Well, I like to do them 4 times in each line before I go up. But doing them 1 time in each line, it's hard to get in the pocket and then move on. I like to sit in each one for at least 4 bars before I move on, just to make sure I'm really feeling it well, and then go up. And then I do a very gradual decelerando without disregarding the metronome. I go all the way back down to pulse 1 manually, is trying to do an analog deaccelerando very slowly and relaxing as much as I can on the way down. And that's the first thing I do every day. This is the opening of my day. If I don't do anything else, I might do this and say, you know what, I'm not practicing today, it doesn't feel right. But this is the thing that I will do under all circumstances, that I'll begin my day with, no matter what. And even if it's the only thing I do, that's, this is what will get done. If I got 5 minutes, this is it. If I got more than 5 minutes, I do this and go on. And then what I go on to then is, the stick trouble. There's another way to use this besides as a warm up, using power strokes at the half stroke level, and it becomes a different exercise. This is what I just did as a power. There's a power exercise and control. It's always control exercise because for the divisions you have to go through. But when we do it half stroke, it then becomes like a single stroke, control, endurance, acceleration. Which we do it a lot faster. We do it for long periods of time, and we do it in both directions. We do it in up and down direction. So the first thing I'm going to do when I go to half stroke, which physically what's going to happen is I'm going to decrease the distance. I'm going to bring it down here, which is going to allow me to do repetitions a lot more repetitions next to each other than I was up here, so I can do a much faster tempo. I'm not going to push the tempo so much. This is 40. I'm only going to go to 50, which is still it's still 20% increase in tempo. But I'm also going to start the table at a higher level. Instead of a 1-to-1 level, I'm going to go to a 4-to-1 level, which is a 20% increase in the number of repetitions. So that's quite a bit starter. So the beginning is going to be this is the 16th notes, line 4. Still pretty slow, but now these divisions going up are going to make a much bigger difference in acceleration. And the concept is going to be we're going to play, instead of playing a 1-bar pattern over and over again, and then going on to the next line and doing that 1-bar pattern over and over. We're gonna do it in a 2-bar pattern, covering 2 lines at a time. So we're gonna put repeat signs around the 16th notes and the quintuplets, and we're gonna move in that 2-bar pattern, and I'm gonna repeat that 2-bar pattern over and over again. And what's going to happen now is when I move on, I'm going to stay in place on the 5. So that's going to become the first bar of the pattern. It was the second bar of the pattern. Brian. Now, Brian Dewhurst. Okay, you're welcome, Brian. I'm glad that it's something that you can relate to and use, hopefully. So then I'm going to stay in the 5 and I'm going to go to the 6. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, and I want you to keep the heights the same, and I want you to keep the sound the same. So you really have to watch that you keep moving the sticks at the same velocity. And this, when you change divisions, all you're doing, you're not changing the height, you're just changing the velocity of your stroke so that you can make an extra repeat. And then decreasing the velocity of your stroke so you can leave out the extra note. Okay, and then so when I get to 6, I'm going to go to 7 now. Same thing. Right? I'm going to stay in 6 from the second position and make that the first position. The 7 will become my second position. Sorry. stay at 8 and go to 9. And here's the 12. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down. And this is great because you get used to speeding up into a higher division and slowing down into a lower division and finding out exactly how much more rotational wrist speed you need to execute each division within the same structure of time and space. And then and it's also an endurance exercise because you're accelerating over a long period of time, playing a lot of notes, and it's also a speed exercise because you're getting faster and faster. Control exercise, you're going through all these divisions, controlling your acceleration frequencies on your wrist. And then after this is done, I pick it up a notch. And it doesn't sound like much when you begin at 4. It really sounds like much more like the same tempo, even though it's 52. But when you get to 12, those 2 beats per minute multiplied by 12 make a big difference. And then you start seeing how it starts really to develop your single stroke roll. If you do it 3 or 4 times in a row and keep increasing that metronome and you're able to get to 12, we'll see. So this is 1 notch more. I'll do it again. Just watch it when I get to the end. What those singles start to sound like. This is 1 notch. That's all it is. can see what happens to the singles when you get up to the upper red. Now, you just go to 54. You don't have to move much at all. One notch, and you got a whole nother challenge when you get up to the top. Okay, I'll do it again. We got 10 minutes before the hour. I'll do it again at 54 now. All right, so on my third time. Sometimes I do this 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, Ron. It's good for you to hear what it sounds like. Get familiar with it. Going to 5. Oh, that's 7. Here we go. 6 to 7. Sorry. 7. I'm going to go to 8. Alright, that's 54. We got a little time left. We got 56. I'll show you 56. It gets really, really crazy after all. You keep doing it. We got 5 minutes left. That's it. We're done. We're an hour. I could do another one, but I'm not going to. Go ahead, do it yourself. But start at 40, full stroke, and then when you want to go to half stroke, go to 50 and then do 52, 54, 56, 58. Good luck with 60. And thanks for watching. And thank you for the Tech Talkers for interacting. Tempo. Just then. Start at 40. Full stroke. Learn it. Go to 50 for half stroke. And that was 56 I just did. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to help your subdivisions, it's going to help your time, it's going to help your endurance, it's going to help your speed, it's going to help your single stroke roll. Everything, all in one exercise. A hell of an exercise, very hard discipline. But I'm going to go now, and I'm going to remind you that you need to keep practicing, folks. See you next Tuesday. Bye.